Welcome to Stress-Free Solutions with Sarah. I'm your host, Sarah Elise, a stress management and fitness coach, advocating the world to trust their gut more often. I discuss various ways to manage stress and share personal stories of guest experts who have gone through the same stressors as all of you at home. Hey there, super moms of the universe. Let's play a game called hide and seek. No, not with your kids or that mysteriously vanishing left sock. It's time to seek out you in the everyday hide and seek of life. Introducing Mastering the Soul System, a 12-week journey to reclaim your time and energy. This course is your gateway to finding balance, energy, and joy in every aspect of your bustling life. Picture this, 12 weeks where the words mom and mayhem don't always go together. Rediscover yourself with every breath in our Soulful Mind Weeks. Sing out loud in the shower or car, off-key is absolutely fine, and dance during our Soulful Body sessions, and embrace the quiet whispers of your heart in our Soulful Spirit adventures. It's about time your spirit got a front row seat, don't you think? Join us on this journey. Embrace the harmony between being a dedicated mom and your personal aspirations. Mastering the soul system, because darling, in the noise, find your silence. And maybe, just maybe, a bit of that elusive thing called me time. You deserve to thrive, not just survive. So come on, slide into our world at www.livewellenhanceyou.com/soul system. Your journey back to you starts now. We are in for a special treat today. We got Mari Delgado. She is a CFP professional and private wealth advisor. She's a strong believer that anything can be achieved with the proper planning and preparation. From serving as the first woman president of the Association of Latino Professionals for America at FIU, to starting her career at the top team at Merrill Lynch, she's broken down barriers time and time again. Mari brings a decade of experience in private wealth management. Her main focus is to help women in transition. Executives with significant wealth tied up in one stock, dealing with divorce or the loss of a partner, receiving an inheritance, navigating an IPO or liquidity event, or nearing or currently in retirement. Mari helps her clients build financial stability and make an impact with their wealth using personalized goals-based investment strategies. She currently serves both Spanish and English-speaking clients nationwide. Mari is a big supporter of local organizations like Habitat for Humanity, 100+ Women Who Care, Women's Executive Club of Fort Lauderdale, Coral Gables Women's Club, and the Nicholas Children's Hospital. She's an active board member of the Women's Fund Miami-Dade. In her free time, yes, her free time, you'll find Mari enjoying a round of golf or going for a run. Her and her husband, Manuel, recently welcomed twin boys, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her, meet her, because for all of those that are moms and struggle to find balance in their lives, it's important for you to hear what other moms are doing today. And we connected at an event, and I'm just so excited that we get to now share our connection with you. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be here and to be recording this podcast with you. I always want to support a fellow working mom.
Me too. And you're doing amazing things. Like, I can't get over everything you've done. Like, I love that you aren't afraid to work with everyone, all different brackets and high achieving women. It's incredible. How did you start getting involved in wealth management?
I actually started back in 2015, 10 years ago at Merrill, but even before then, I am a child of immigrant parents that unfortunately were devastated with the financial crisis. We lost our home, we lost our savings, and because of financial illiteracy. And that's the first time that I got to see firsthand, how truly devastating it could be to sign something and not understand what you're signing. And at least from my standpoint, being an immigrant, we don't have that much of accessible resources. Only 3% of certified financial planners are Latinos. So we don't have a lot of people that look like us teaching us and educating us. So I made it my mission to make sure that this didn't happen to any other immigrant families, to anybody that maybe doesn't have the resources that somebody else would have. So I started getting into wealth management with that mission. And working at Merrill, I had a really good opportunity to be at this robust team that had probably the most successful business owners of South Florida, and it was really exciting, but I always got to be in the room with the father, with the grandfather, with the brother, the cousin, but the women weren't in the room that much, and so that's when my
Interesting.
mission sparked to really get women in the room, get them interested, and I have seen the narrative change, so I definitely think that
Okay.
forward. But that's how I ended up with my passion of wealth management with a focus on educating women.
And it's so funny that you say that because I feel just our generation has more problems with wealth management because I think we were so focused on, for me, I was more focused on the arts and creating. And for some of my friends, they were focused more on the sciences and more sales, but nothing with our personal finances. When I really think about it, it wasn't as important at the time. Maybe our parents might have talked about it, but the landscape has changed too. So, where do people that are just starting out, or what should they be starting with?
So I totally hear you and I agree. I think that if we had to blame one of the factors, it would be society and the kind of messaging that women get is a little bit different. The whole deal with just don't buy a coffee, save $5 a day, and then you'll be able to retire comfortably. That messaging really scares us into wanting to save our money. And we are, a lot of us are caretakers, whether it is with children or our parents.
Mm,
We're too busy, in my opinion, to be researching what a Roth IRA and researching, like, we have so much on our plate already. So I do think that both society's messaging plus our responsibility as caretakers has, really set us back in a way financially in that messaging.
mhm,
And somebody that is wanting to start, I would say a few things. Maybe the first thing is talking to someone like me, just or having that conversation within a group of friends and just expressing that you want to achieve certain goals. And that sounds a little bit broad, but what are you really wanting to achieve in this lifetime? Do you want to, how do you view money versus your partner? Do
mm,
you consider financial freedom is? What do you consider success is? What's the definition of success? So, really looking almost inwards, right? And saying what matters to me because we are all so different. And I've met all types of women, all different wealth levels, and everybody has a different view and definition of success. And with that comes the way that we view money. So doing that introspect, I don't think I'm saying that word right. I speak my first language is Spanish, but really doing that work inside so
mhm,
then you can be very clear about what you expect from your partner, from your community around you, from your financial advisor. And I think that would be the very first step, just having a conversation, truthful, honest moment with yourself about what you want out of life and how money can help you achieve that.
When you talk about partners, your husband, your wife, like I feel that's a really tough conversation for a lot of
Very,
people.
very tough.
And, I know that you were in finance, but what were some of the conversations like with Manuel when you first dating?
Think I'm crazy, but I met him and I think date number 3. I was like, how much debt do you have? And he's like, what? He's like, are you psycho? And I'm like, it was brand new into the relationship. And I've always felt comfortable speaking about money because the way that I was raised, we were always open about money, whether we were in a good or a bad financial situation. It was just not something that was taboo on the table ever. I always knew that my dad got a paycheck, my mom got a paycheck too, but my dad would just give the money to my mom would manage it. So that's the way that I was raised. So in my head, I'm like, this is just the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to manage
So
the
funny.
finances.
That's so funny too, because you saw it totally different than probably most females see it growing up. Yeah. Especially
Yes.
that generation too. Like that really cool to see that from your mom.
Yeah. It was definitely different. But with Manuel, I call him Manny, but with Manny, I think it became a little bit easier once we have the boys.
Mm.
So I'm not just children, but if you have some sort of common ground, I think it's the easiest way to attack a money conversation because you never want to be pointing fingers or saying like you're spending or you're saving or that's not nice. Nobody wants to feel like it's their fault that something bad is.
Right.
I find that working with couples that tends to be the messaging like it's there's always a different view in regards to how spending should be. Like, I'll be honest, Manny's the spender. All my Amazon packages are Manny, and I don't really spend, and that's fine. But our conversations about money before the boys and after the boys are completely different because now we have a common ground, and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just making sure that our goal, which is to have the boys in a somehow in a safe financial space or be able to afford school, be able to afford date, whatever
Right.
goals you have, if you have joint goals, now
Mm.
it doesn't feel like an attack on you. It feels more like let's work on it together. What can you do to achieve this and how can I help you do that? So we help, it's a partnership and
That's
we help each
smart.
other
That's
so
really
much.
smart. So I know Evan won't care if I share this, but my husband and I, we didn't really we talked about finances and that would be in a good place to move and everything. But we didn't really talk about financial goals, I feel, until we started talking about kids. And
Yeah.
when I got pregnant, that was what, and it's just so interesting because we were both so tight lipped around it that I felt it was giving us a bunch of anxiety. And I feel
Yes.
anxiety and stress just kind of, you know, well up because some people have debt, some people have
Yeah.
loans to pay from college.
Student loan.
Mhm. So, and thinking about student loans, let's actually go in that direction. What do you recommend people to do with student loan debt? Because it can be a lot of money that they can't like invest in their retirement or anything. They have to pay this off and they got themselves into this because there's not really any great options for loans. Like, how can people get themselves out of that loan debt? Is it goals or something else?
So that's a really good question. And part of the reason why I like my job so much is because everybody's so different. So my conversation with you versus my husband versus my friends, it really is different. So what I would say, I already mentioned having that conversation with yourself, right? With that conversation with yourself comes what type of what matters to me in the next 2 to 3 years, in the next 5 and 7 years, 10 years down the road. So having a, even though it's very difficult, so don't be hard on yourself if you don't have the answers to this, but having a bit of an idea as to what the next few years are going to look like will allow you to prioritize financially. And then when you sit down and you look at cash flows, right? Your home is your business too. So what is coming in and what is going out, and how are you treating it? How are you prioritizing it? With
Mm,
that comes the student loan payments, along with the credit card payments, along with just everything that might be affecting your cash flow. So having that conversation, if you are both working, if you are both, and by the way, stay at home moms work extremely hard, but I mean in regards to income that is coming to the household, looking at all the income coming in, looking at all the payments that are going out, including the student loans in there, looking at your assets, looking at
right.
what assets are important to you, maybe some are not, just prioritizing everything in a full balance sheet so that you can then move forward and attack things first.
Mm,
And just a rule of thumb, I would advise to attack higher interest things first. And typically those are credit card debt. You're looking at 20, 25, 30% debt. So that really could be detrimental to your cash flows. So thinking about interest is a really good way to take a stab at financial planning, right? What
right.
is eating up? Like, where are you just paying interest just for the sake of paying interest, versus maybe you have a 3% mortgage, you have this home. 3% is really not that bad. So maybe we should tackle the 25% credit card debt first, and then
Mm,
see where everything falls into place to then be able to tackle bigger pieces of debt, like a mortgage, that maybe the interest is not affecting you as much as the credit card one. So
got it.
looking, that's kind of the first step that I take at everything, just looking at the interest and then your own priorities, like what keeps you up at night, what
Yeah.
makes you feel good.
Yeah. Now, I know there's so many things for moms and dads that keep us up at night.
Okay.
Finances are one thing, but there's so many other things. I'm a new mom. I know you are too. Working y- your job, it's not an easy one. There's a lot of
Mhm.
clients facing that you have to do. How are you able to get back into the swing of things, especially after twins? I can't even.
I owe it all to my support system. I owe it all to Manny. I think that Manny is, and it doesn't just have to be your husband, because I know a lot of women that rely a lot on their moms or like their close, tight knit community. Like, the idea is that having a support system, whoever that might be for you, is so important, because having twins before the boys, I was very independent. Very independent. Don't need help from anybody. I got this. I just very go getter, planner, type A person, just like crazy.
Yeah.
Very structured, very structured. And then I got thrown an amazing curveball of two babies at once. And that allowed me to look at life a little bit differently, where I just let go, and I was able to, after a very difficult battle. So it wasn't easy to get here, but a very difficult, postpartum kicked my butt. It wasn't easy, but I had to finally say, I need help.
Mm,
And then when you let go of the reins and say, can you please do this? You start delegating, you start being honest. I've said no to events and it hurts my heart because I want to be everywhere, but
right.
my time is so limited. So just being kind to yourself the way that you would treat a best friend, that's what allowed me to kind of get back into the groove of things, and also accepting what I can and cannot handle. By the way, I'm not 100% great at it yet, but I'm definitely better than than a few years ago.
No one's great at that.
Yeah.
But I think it's remarkable that you have great communication. It's really hard for a lot of couples to do that. And delegation that you mentioned, so important. What was the first thing? Because I'm type A too. What was the first thing that you're like, I can delegate? I'm able to delegate this to you.
That's so funny that you say that, because a lot of moms, including myself, have this almost like societal pressure that you have to either breastfeed, right? you
Mhm.
have to breastfeed and you have to breastfeed your baby for a year, or that you have to hold them and like hold your baby and nap with them so that they have this connection to you. And it's just all these things that online drives me crazy. When I
Yeah.
had twins, having two babies at once, and then having that really painful C-section, you can't you can't possibly, as a regular human being, hold two babies at all times, breastfeed all the baby. Like there are
No.
some things that are so difficult to do, but society's telling you that you need to do it. If not, you're not a good mom and all these things.
Yeah.
So if your family was the first thing I delegated, that broke my heart. It wasn't easy, but it was feeding the baby. You're pumping every 3 hours. You have grandma feeding one, husband feeding the other. Like there's just so much chaos and just so many curveballs thrown at once
Yes.
that being okay with that delegation was probably the most difficult thing for me. But after
Totally.
I did that very difficult thing for me, then I started being more comfortable saying, "Hey, can maybe you take care of the boys tonight because I really need to sleep." And that's something else that you don't want to do as a mom because you must always be present and all these things. But little by little, as you delegate and you recognize that you are human, because that's what you
Mhm.
are, you're human, we want to be Wonder Woman. Trust me, I want to be Wonder Woman. But physically, like it's two babies, two crying babies. You're learning how to be a mom. You're going through postpartum. There's just so much. So it was really liberating once I genuinely delegated, because the first few times were the most difficult thing for me, for
Totally.
sure.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that though about the breastfeeding and the holding, because especially with twins, like how I didn't even think
Yeah.
about how on earth could you do all of that? But like you did the best you can. You're pumping,
Yeah.
you're doing your, because for me too, it was like breast milk was important to me just because I'm in that health and wellness space. So then I was
Same,
even
same.
getting, yeah, we're getting even more content fed to us. Like, if you do this kind of formula, it's going to ruin your kid's life. And I was like,
Oh my
oh, goodness.
God.
This is not at all what I need more in my life. I need less. I want more positive content that's
Yes.
not positive toxicity, though. I want to be able to see moms that are also having struggles that have gotten through it. And I think that's important. I also had a C-section and I had these epidural headaches, which I did not know was a thing.
Oh, I
So,
didn't know.
well, I was going through labor for good 9 hours, and it
Oh,
it came to one point where I was like, okay, I'll take the epidural, but I might have been a little twitchy, and so there's a chance that maybe it was like a slight, whatever with the needle. Like I think they did a great job. It all worked out, right?
yeah.
Great incision, all the good stuff. But afterwards, I could not, and it still pains me to think about it. I could not look down at my baby. I could not look down at her because it would literally feel like someone was just like, I don't know, smacking me or punching me in the head, in the back of the head. And it was like, ow, ow, like every time I looked down. And the ability to be able to breastfeed a week later was incredible, but I was, like, crying every night because I'm like, I wanna be able to look down at her because it's the first week
Yeah.
with her, and, but that was my first moment of delegation where it's like, okay, like, my father-in-law, my mom, my husband, like, spending time with her, me just laying there looking up at the ceiling for 3 days, and it was really hard as it ti and the I it was more of a moment for me to be like, "Okay, this is probably an indication you need to slow down in life."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was I ever since, like, now I'm working part-time, and I'm thinking now it's the best decision because I think that was a moment to say, "Slow down, enjoy. Enjoy."
100%. So, yeah, if we don't pause and enjoy the moment, then what are we doing all of this for? Right?
Exactly.
I hear
Yeah.
you and I totally agree.
And then this podcast basically over time has been about providing resources, whether it's for men or women, just resources for them to reduce their stress. And women taking charge of their finances is just so hard sometimes when they always are putting their finances in for everyone else. So, how can you divide and conquer in terms of providing to the savings for your kid or your daycare while also still having investments for your retirement or for a house, a down payment or future expenses?
Yeah, I think there's just so much that we have on our plate already. But one tip that I have a very good friend, her name is Erica Wasserman. She's a financial therapist. She's phenomenal. And I've worked with her in the sense that she gave me one tip. I asked her a very similar question that you just asked me. And she gave me like the simplest tip, and I started doing it. And now I owe her for it. But basically, before you start daycare, before you start school, already pay for it in your mind. So you have a checking account, you have your savings, open up an additional account, call it daycare, and start paying what the average payment would be. Like just already get used to the cash flow leaving your bank account, even though it's not because you haven't enrolled the babies in daycare yet. But start already getting used to the payment of certain expenses that might be very heavy on you in the next few years so
Mhm.
that you get to learn before the need is actually there. So I haven't enrolled the babies in daycare yet. I will when they turn 2 in July in a few months. But I already started just putting it away into a separate account. And then if by any chance I'm short, well, I'm short right now that I don't necessarily need it. And then I know what changes to make in my lifestyle. Do I need to be spending less? Do I need to be doing more things? Does my husband need to be doing more? My husband has like a auto detailing shop. So does he need maybe 3 more cars this month in order for us to afford this daycare or something like that? But it's almost
Nice.
getting into like that mental movement of what it means to pay for the things that you want your babies to have. And if you can't afford it for some reason, then maybe it's just a time to step back and look at the full picture, right? What are the things that maybe you're paying for? Because at the end of the day, I find money is so psychological. Like it's all the way that we prioritize payments. Like we always pay ourselves last. And if there's anything left from all the bills that you have, then that's what you save. But you're not really looking at how much money is going to Amazon, how much money is going, unless you're a very strict budgeter, which I have a
Mm.
few that really are. But I have other clients. I would say that most people tend to buy things on it. Like it's very easy for you to pay for stuff. Like Apple Pay is in my phone and you just tap and go and tap and go.
So
And
true.
it's easy to spend. It's easy to spend. So that is your competition. Like Amazon is your competition to the daycare. Like all these easy to pay. And then there's like a paying monthly type of subscriptions where you're not spending the full $1,000 now. You're spending maybe $100 a month, and all of a sudden it doesn't hurt that much. And so, how about if
Right.
you just made almost like a mental subscription to your baby's daycare? And
Yeah.
you just need to add, I don't know, $100 a month, whatever that might be. Everybody's so different. Some women I know also don't send their babies to daycare. They have a homeschool thing, or they have their parents taking care of them, and maybe they give them the parents like a stipend. And so just whatever works for you, because I'm a big advocate that don't be freaking judgmental to moms. Like whatever they're doing just to survive. Like don't give anybody a hard time, whether that is daycare, homeschool, family help. But when it comes to finances, what is it that you need to afford for your family to run? And then how can you get there? Is it by doing those monthly payments? Is it by reviewing your full financial plan and figuring out what you should be doing differently? So that's one tip that Erica gave me that I literally started doing when I spoke to her a few months ago. And I owe her for that. That was a really good like mental switch of how to get
Yeah.
used to those payments.
I never would have thought of that. That's super
Neither would I.
simple, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
super simple. And I feel it. very reasonable to do. Like the first joint savings account that you do with your spouse, you just now add a almost like a joint savings for your baby or just a regular account. So when it comes to retirement, what has been the biggest challenge you've seen for your client?
It depends on where they are in life. So when I have clients that are saving for retirement, it's just a matter of getting the money into that retirement account, right? Whether it is maxing out your IRA, maxing out your Roth, if you have a high deductible health plan, do you have access to an HSA, which is a health savings account that allows you to build money up for health expenses down the line. So when you're in that building phase, it's just a matter of being educated and knowing what account you have the ability to contribute to, and then doing so, and then investing so that it grows because you are in the accumulation stage and you want that to have enough time so that it gets the ups and downs of the markets, but really mostly ups. Now, when I have clients that are already in their retirement phase or closer to the retirement phase, then that's where we're looking at cash flows, we're looking at expenses, we're looking at what do they need to live off of every month, like those expenses that you can't really negotiate with, whether it is house expenses, car expenses, health insurance expenses, those things that are just not going to be negotiable versus the negotiables, which are the vacations and the fun stuff that you totally deserve when you're in retirement. And so somebody like that, I would say that the biggest challenge has been market volatility and
Yeah.
being very scared and making a decision based off of emotion because you see the market go down. And when you're already in retirement, you have this mind frame that this is all I have, right? This is my life's work and I need to make it last. And if the market dips 5%, 10%, it's a really scary time. And so that's why working with an advisor is important because that advisor is going to understand your goals, which is essentially to not outlive your money, but also that advisor is going to understand which type of products or the asset allocation to place you in so that not your full portfolio is exposed to that volatility in the market. And maybe you have some in some type of safer or not as volatile financial instrument. And I think that is where I do best, which is really helping my clients, first of all, educate them through what's happening, right? What's happening in the market,
Right.
and then how that's affecting them, but then also all the different options that they might have so that they're not as exposed, finding that balance for them. And everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know everyone has a different situation, but I do still feel that like retirement planning can feel like a big unknown. Are there any strategies for ensuring a stress-free financial future? I know that's a very lofty idea, but
Yeah, it is difficult. I would say that to ensure a stress-free retirement, I almost feel repetitive saying this, but being able to visit your financial plan often, I think is what I've seen in my clients' face. Like I see their face turn when I run their financial plan. I see them all of a sudden be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Or like, oh, okay, I can afford it. Like I see like a sense of relief.
mm,
And so I would say that working with somebody that can plug all of that and really help you visualize where you stand in retirement and how your decisions are affecting or will continue to affect your retirement so that you feel well informed or at least the best that you can and you feel more comfortable making moves. Like, for example, I had a client that worked in banking for 30 years. She decided to retire and, well, not retire, actually. I don't think we ever retire as women, but she pivoted to nonprofit. And so I
mm,
remember the financial plans with her were really how much, because she was going from a really big salary to nonprofit, but
Right.
that's what she wanted to do. So doing financial planning and really helping her come up with that income number that she needed to keep her lifestyle, all of a sudden helped her make that decision that was really scary. But when it's a well informed decision, or at least to the best of your ability, then all of a sudden it's not as stressful because
Hmm.
you ran your plan and all of a sudden you felt like this is something that I can do. And if I need to change some things, then I just got to talk to Mari and ask her, hey, I'm going to be changing this. Is it all right? Is it still in line? And I find that that is the least stressful way to attack retirement.
I love that. It's so great. It's a great way of looking at it. I think we make finances harder than they need to be. After talking to you, I'm really starting to feel that we can simplify, have conversations, and reduce our stress simply by doing
Yeah.
that. And just really looking at where our expenses lie. And man, when you said at the beginning about the cup of coffee thing, I feel like that was something my mom used to say, and my dad, he passed away 9 years ago, but he was very big on like a penny saved is a penny earned kind of mentality. And it did help me. But now it's like the one part is investing in your
Yeah.
future. And working with someone like you, I think, is the best way to go about it because then you really can understand where
Yeah.
your money is going.
Yeah. 100%. And it doesn't have to be me, but I would say work with somebody that you like and that you trust, that has the experience behind it, that has the designations, the registrations, somebody that is knowledgeable, but also that you feel confident, not confident, comfortable around, because money's still very emotional. And, we go through different things and maybe you don't feel comfortable bringing up certain questions with someone. So having that conversation with someone that you're like, oh, it's like she gets it. And you're able to have those vulnerable, raw conversations that allow you to make a better decision for your future. So I've said this time and time again, but if you have a financial advisor, do you like them? Do you like them as human beings? Would you grab a cup of coffee with them and just like enjoy? I don't feel like I'm working sometimes because I genuinely like my clients. Like I just
Yeah.
like, hey, how are you doing? And I care for them.
Mhm.
So having that honest relationship with your clients, I think it's so important.
Yeah. I always love to end with this question because we talk about stress and we feel stress so often. How has stress saved your life?
I guess the first thing I could think of is stress is almost like a fight or flight. Like I think it puts you in that mode. And I find through difficult challenges in my life that that's where I work best because there's no overthinking. It's a fight or flight, just get it done. And it pours over into every section of my life, every single one. When there is stress around, I want to get it over with fast. And so I just work the best to get it over with fast. Yesterday, I ran the 305 half marathon. And
Congratulations.
thank you so much, but it had 4 bridges. And
Oh
I
my
was doing
gosh.
it with a group of friends. And that's where they kind of like, it's like really difficult because you're going uphill. So it's
Mhm.
really difficult. It was very difficult for me too, but literally fight or flight. I'm like, I got to run this fast if I wanted to not last as long as if I were to run this slow. So you
Totally.
saw me pass everyone on the uphill just because I'm like, let's just get this over with. And I was thinking about it so much that I literally made that LinkedIn post saying, that's how I view everything in life. Just the more difficult that it is, the more time for you to reflect on how you want to tackle that difficult situation. And for me, it's just work harder, get out of it, let's go.
Yeah.
And so that's how it's affected me in my life.
Yeah. I love that. No. And like you said, that flight or fight can be good. It can be good. It can be beneficial to us. It can go the other way too, don't get me wrong. But in situations like that or problem solving, it's super helpful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so.
Yeah. Mari, how can people connect with you?
They can connect. Our website is Connect Your Wealth. Oh, yeah. So I recently launched the Women in Wealth division at Connect Financial, and Connect is spelled Kinnect. So not like connect, but connect. And the idea is that all aspects of your life should be connected. So just because you did your estate planning doesn't mean that your accountant needs to know, your advisor needs to know, your attorney needs to know. So everything should be connected. And that's the whole, mission and the idea behind Connect Financial. So connectyourwealth.com is our website. And then my email is Mari@connectyourwealth.com.
Incredible. Thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed our conversation. It was just what I knew it would be, just getting to the heart of money, emotional decisions, and connection.
Yeah, I love this. I can't believe that we did this. Literally, like as two working moms, as our kids are probably losing their mind, but we're doing this and we're just keeping it real. And I love, love, love talking to women like you. And yeah, I'm here to be a resource. I'm here to be a resource and just make money a very easy conversation to have when I know it's not one naturally.
Totally. Everyone, please connect with Mari. And as always, speak well to yourself on this self-love journey. Thanks to Dan Lieber at Beckett Brown Music for the intro and outro music. You can keep in touch with me on Instagram at Sarah Elise Coaching. If you're looking to improve your health and wellness, check out my business, livewellenhanceyou.com. While you're there, join the Live Well Enhance You email list and receive exclusive offers for our wellness programs and events. Until next time, take care.